Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hadley's Green Card Insights. So this is our second episode of this channel, this series. And my name is Viresha Perera. I'm a green card specialist. I've been working with employment-based green cards over the past 5 years now. So I've had quite a few, quite a lot of experience dealing with employment-based green cards and all of the issues, as well as the opportunities that it presents. So today's topic, we would like to cover the much anticipated October 2024 Visa Bulletin. Since this is the first time that we will be discussing the Visa Bulletin on this channel and through this podcast, I'd like to go into a little bit more detail about kind of like the basics of the Visa Bulletin, right? So talking about the differences between the tables, some of the key concepts like priority dates and, country of chargeability and how that applies to you. And then we will kind of break down, the updates that the October 2024 Visa Bulletin presents and how it's different from the September 2024 Visa Bulletin. So to do that, I'll start to share my screen so that we can take a look at that Visa Bulletin. And I'll start with the September one, actually. Okay, so if you are, in a family-based or employment-based green card process, you might have heard of the term Visa Bulletin before, right? And if you ever, looked at this site and have taken a look at the site in the past, then it might look very black and white to you, right? So it's two very black and white tables that might seem a little bit confusing. And that's why today we're going to break down the differences between the tables. And for the purpose of this episode, we'll focus on the employment-based preference cases, so the employment-based green cards. So starting with Table A, which is called the final action dates for employment-based preference cases. This table in particular describes or shows to us the exact cutoff dates for when USCIS is ready to approve your green card application. So this is the final date by which they will approve your green card application. And this differs from Table B. Table B is called Dates for Filing of Employment-Based Visa Applications. And this table is more focused on when USCIS will start to accept applications for your adjustment of status. So if you are familiar again with the employment-based green card route, this is all in relation to Step 2 of the process, which is the adjustment of status. And in a couple of podcast episodes, we'll definitely talk more about the differences in Step 1 and Step 2 of the employment-based green card process. But for Step 2, that's the adjustment of status, and we have to pay very, very close attention to both Table A and Table B for the employment-based visa applications. So looking at this table, just breaking down some of the dates here, these dates are called priority dates. As soon as you file any application with USCIS for your employment-based green card, you receive something called a priority date. Something I think is very good or very useful that USCIS does is that they assign you this priority date based on the date when your application is filed, not when your application is approved. That means that hypothetically, if you were to file an I-140 for an EB-2 and IW petition, let's say tomorrow, and if that's September 13th that you file your application, then September 13th, 2024 becomes your priority date, and that becomes almost like your spot in this queue for green cards. So with this in mind, it is important to look at these tables just because it dictates to us when we would be able to file at Step 2 for you. So let's say again, your priority date is September 13th, 2024, and now you're waiting to see when you'll be able to file your adjustment of status, which is Step 2 of the process, right? So you would have to pay very close attention to Table A and Table B both, but USCIS actually differs in this one aspect where they kind of tell us which table to pay attention to with regard to filing an adjustment of status application. So if I switch over tabs to this other site, as you can see, this is released by USCIS. It's updated every month. And it will show you, for example, next month's adjustment of status filing charts. So we would look at for employment-based preference filings. they will literally tell us that we must use the dates for filing chart in the Department of State Visa Bulletin for October 2024. Intuitively, you might think that the dates for filing chart should, across the board be the chart that they use to basically determine when they will start accepting USCIS applications, but that is not the case. So this particular web page, varies pretty often. So, I believe every month or so, they do update this page to show us which chart they will be using in order to accept these applications. So sometimes they will say you must use the final action dates chart, which is Table A. And Table A tends to be a little bit more retrogressed in those dates. So whenever it switches over to Table A, it kind of causes a bit more of a delay for when you might be able to apply for your adjustment of status. So now we see here that for employment-based preference filings, we are allowed to use the dates for filing chart, and that is great news for October 2024's Visa Bulletin, and let me show you why. So we'll take a look now very specifically at the Visa Bulletin for October 2024. And again, remember that they said that we can use the dates for filing chart. So if we go all the way down to this Table B, dates for filing, then you do see here there's the employment base, and you see first, second, third. This is with regard to the category or the preference level that you are applying for. So EB1, for example, would be employment-based first. EB2 would be employment-based second. And EB3 would be employment-based third. So if you take a look between September of 2024, so that was just last month, and October of 2024, there is quite a significant jump in EB2 in particular, and this benefits a lot of our clients. So we're super excited because we're able to file a lot of adjustment of status applications for clients who have a priority date, for example, in July of 2023. So, and this means basically that USCIS will now accept the adjustment of status application of anyone who has a priority date before 1st of August 2023. So that is how that works essentially. You would have to have a priority date that is either on or before any of these cutoff dates that are listed on the Visa Bulletin. So there is a pretty significant jump in October 2024 for the EB2 for all chargeability areas except those listed. So it's jumped from about March to August. There are, some jumps, I would say in China, we have a little bit of a jump as well. So it was 1st of June 2020 for EB2, and now it is 1st of October 2020. So a bit of a jump there as well. For India, there was a jump from July 2012 to 1st of January 2013. And then, so on, you can see the other minor jumps as well essentially from about March to August. So there's been about a 5 to 6 month advancement across all of these countries for the EB2 category. Looking at the EB1, so EB1 has been current for all chargeability areas except those listed. And what that means when you see that C, that is the best sign possible, because that means that essentially you're able to apply for an adjustment of status concurrently with your I-140. So that means that a visa or a green card is available for you, and therefore you can file both Step 1 and Step 2 at the same time. So there is no backlog. It is not retrogressed. So for example, if you were a national of the UK and you were filing an EB1A petition, you would be able to file both the I-140 and your adjustment of status application at the same time. And the same goes for Mexico and Philippines as well. However, for China and India, it is retrogressed, both in the EB1 and the EB2. In particular, the EB2 has been heavily retrogressed for years and years, and most of our Indian and Chinese national clients know that. They're aware of that, and that's why a lot of our Indian and Chinese nationals always aim to go higher and target the EB1 instead, because it's a much shorter backlog or wait time for that green card to become available to them. I did also want to mention, because I forgot to mention this earlier, these chargeability areas are based on your country of birth typically. So If you were, born in the UK, again, going back to the UK. So if you were born in the UK, then you would fall under all chargeability areas except those listed. If you're born in India, then you would fall under the India category here. So that's a little bit about some of the basics of the employment-based visa applications. I think the other significant difference is definitely the EB3 row. So if you take a look at Table B for September 2024, EB3 had, lots of priority dates here in 23, 21, 12, 23, 23. And then you see here it's moved pretty significantly. For October 2024's Visa Bulletin, it moved forward by about a month for EB3 all chargeability areas, and then a little bit more significantly for the other countries as well. And this is for the dates for filing of employment-based visa applications for Table B. So another important benefit of USCIS allowing us to be able to use Table B to submit your adjustment of status application is that, so once we do submit, and let's say hypothetically, if you were to have a priority date of July 2023, and let's say hypothetically you are a national of Italy, then and you filed in the EB2 category. So according to October 2024's Visa Bulletin, what that would mean is that you are now eligible to submit your adjustment of status application because the priority date cutoff here is 1st of August 2023, and your priority date is, let's say, 1st of July 2023. So you're able to submit that adjustment of status application. Then bringing it back to Table A, we would have to check to see what the priority date is here as well. So Table A, would essentially dictate when USCIS is ready to approve that green card, that final, adjudication process for your green card. So as you can see here for EB2, it's still 15 March 2023. What that means is that although we're able to now submit your adjustment of status application because your priority date was July, USCIS will not take a final decision and approve your green card until this row in Table A, so EB2, and under all chargeability areas, until that specific slot turns to July 2023 or August 2023. They will not take a final action on your green card, meaning that they will not approve it until that priority date advances as well. That is still good news, though, for us, however, just because when you do file your adjustment of status application, because as USCIS, as the Department of State has indicated with the October 2024 Visa Bulletin, you're now able to submit your, employment-based visa adjustment of status application. So the good thing about that is that you're also able to file at the same time your I-765 and your I-131. The I-765 is a form that grants you work authorization, and the I-131 is a form that grants you travel authorization. So if you would like to, receive those benefits like unrestricted work and travel authorization, after you file your application, because you're now able to, right, hypothetically, you are now able to file your AOS application. So once you do that, within about 4 to 6 months, typically, USCIS will issue either a combo card or a separate employment authorization document and then an advanced parole document for your travel authorization. So that gives you the flexibility to work and travel while you wait for Table A to become current for your priority date, so that, they can finally adjudicate your green card. So even though, there's been absolutely no movement in Table A for EB1 and EB2, at least, for all chargeability, India, Mexico, and Philippines, there's been no movement in Table A from September to October 2024, but that's, not the end of the world. That's not the worst news, because we are at least able to file certain cases based on the dates for filing in Table B. And you will be able to receive that work and travel authorization while you wait for USCIS to adjudicate and approve your green card. So overall, that was just a run through of the Visa Bulletin for September and October 2024, kind of comparing the differences and the updates. There's still so much more we could talk for ages about the Visa Bulletin, all the trends that we see as well. But as you know, the October 2024 Visa Bulletin is the most anticipated Visa Bulletin of the year, just because it is the start of the fiscal year, meaning that we see the most advancement in these Visa Bulletins. So we are pretty happy to see quite a bit of advancement in Table B. If you or anyone you know has a priority date that's earlier than the cutoff dates listed in Table B, definitely feel free to contact our firm or file an adjustment of status application yourself if you can, just because you are now eligible to and you should receive those important work and travel benefits. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Thank you so much for watching and listening to our podcast episode today. Once again, this is Viresha Perera on Hadley's Green Card Insights. Please be sure to hit like and follow. If you have anything that you'd like for us to cover in the next podcast episode, feel free to leave a comment and contact us with the information provided above. Thank you.